What happens when you take a $500 Boxster that is destined for the junkyard, cram a Mustang V8 engine into it, remove the body panels, and use a blend of modern technology and traditional methods to create a 1960s inspired vintage supercar? Well, you get Project Jigsaw, and this week we get the driving lights mounted and the buckets fabricated, and you can find all that and more in this week's episode of Project Jigsaw. We came in this morning with the idea of mounting our driving lights to the car, and it's now like 8:30 in the morning because we're still trying to decide what to do. As you can see, Tony's still assuming the position on the floor here. He's been holding up that light for a while, just staring at it. What do you think, Tony?
Well, I mean, I like our idea. We want to build off of this because this is going to be rigid and not move around.
What Tony's talking about is the pivot and the hinge for our clamshell, the front, which is undeniably the strongest point for like flex or vibration.
It's the most rigid part of the clamshell because it is the first point of contact with the chassis.
Yes.
This won't be flexing, and that's what we want to mount our light to, so our light isn't doing this.
Also flexing.
So currently the nose panel on the car comes down to somewhere about here, and we need to get the metal to go all the way to our light. So we're gonna make this part right here, curve around. This will sit vertically when we mount it, and we'll have to notch out there for that.
So the fluting of the lights actually works.
Right, yeah, yeah.
It was angled, the fluting.
If you do this, then the beam is gonna look like that. It's gonna be like coming at you like this.
Be sad.
And it needs to be this. Oh, maybe we can go this way and make it angry.
Oh, angry beams, we can make a Jeep.
It will be like this. But right now it doesn't fit like that. That's why we've been setting this in here like that. So.
All right, so let's make a bucket.
Yeah, let's make a bucket.
This video has been paid for and sponsored by MyHeritage. I believe that it's important to research your family's history, so when MyHeritage reached out for a partnership, I jumped right on that. So with just a little bit of work, I was able to build a family tree to work off of. MyHeritage makes it easy to find family members, and they have over 19 billion historical documents to reference. A really neat feature is instant discoveries, which allows you to add an entire branch to your family tree with a click of a button. Through my research, I was able to learn about Judy Ann Frank, my grandmother that I didn't really know much about. Which leads me into another neat feature, which is colorizing old images. I was able to research and pull up this photo, and then MyHeritage was able to colorize it so I could see what it looked like today. And after some additional digging, I discovered that my grandfather also attended the same high school, and here he is in the previous year's yearbook. If researching your family history is important to you, you can get a free 14-day free trial to MyHeritage through the link in the description down below, or you can scan the QR code that's on the screen right now. Tony, are you being the boomer that uses his flashlight in the restaurant to look at the menu?
I do that.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Well, you know what? When you lose your eyesight, you'll do the same thing.
I'll never lose my eyesight.
Yeah, When it starts to fail on you, maybe you'll have you'll be the guy that has like the little headlamp here on your glasses.
I would rock that. I would definitely rock that.
Yeah, I know you would.
I have no shame.
That's not what I'm doing here, actually.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
You can see the bottom of the radius to mark it. Because on this side, you couldn't get down in there with the marker.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for making fun of you. Well, I'm half sorry.
This from the guy that just complained that his pocket was getting warm. Why was that, Ryan? Why was your pocket getting warm?
Because I left my camera on. That may have been the most awkward thing I've ever watched in the shop.
That's because you haven't seen yourself in the mirror. Look at that. That's like the perfect piece of scrap.
What's the problem, Tony?
Well, trying to figure out how we're going to roll this. because we don't have a slip roll.
And why don't we have a slip roll?
Because the only thing that we've used one for in the last 5 years has been this project.
Yeah. So now what? I mean, it's close to the right size.
It's close to the right size.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah?
I'm a fan of what you're doing. Your technique really
I kind of think the idea
Your technique really blows me away.
I think the idea kind of blows, honestly.
Aw, I stole that from you.
Yeah, almost.
Doesn't look bad though.
No.
It really doesn't for what you just did. If I didn't film it, no one would believe me.
Let's see if this does it.
Nice.
Getting there.
You just like use the form.
Yeah, let me get a piece of tubing to push in against it so I'm...
You can clamp the rest of it down too so it doesn't move if you want.
Yeah.
I swear a good portion of metal shaping is just coming up with different ways to do the same thing for different panels because they don't all fit in the same tooling. Or you can just buy
a whole bunch of
$100,000 worth of tooling and then
Yeah.
you solve everything, but where's the profit margin on that?
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, actually, in this...
Wait, say that first part again?
What? No, I won't say that again. I think you're right.
This has become more and more involved.
Yeah. Yeah, the hammer form's not going to take that.
Yeah, it was designed for force going straight down, not going that way.
And the radius is exactly what we want it to be. And usually there's a little bit of spring back, so we're not getting past that either.
This is becoming more of a challenge than I initially thought. We need a slip roll really badly right now.
Just right now.
I mean, Eastwood sells one. I bet you they have too. Hey, so I need a tool, and I'm curious if you could help me out. So Eastwood was able to help us out and give us this 24-inch slip roll. You can get more information on this slip roll in the link in the description down below. So shout out again to Eastwood, thank you so much. So now we're going to use the slip roll to finish out these buckets because the fan wasn't working out that great. I mean, it worked okay, but we finally have a slip roll. After all that talk about how we didn't need one.
We got pretty close with the fan, and if I had cut my piece much longer, we probably would have had this done already, but I'm glad to be using a slip roll for this because it's the right tool for the job. So these screws here move this roller up and down, and you just set it so that it brings these two rollers the thickness of the material, and then it will just feed through. And then this screw, these two screws here, adjust this roller up and down, and that will change the diameter of this circle, if you know what a diameter is. Since we already got this pretty close, we have a little bit of a cheat, and I can move the roller up against the sheet metal, and that will mean that we're very close. I'm gonna grab a pair of calipers, just make sure that they're parallel side to side, and then I'm gonna run a scrap piece through, since we already spent time cutting this and all that, so we don't mess that up. And by we, I mean me. Let me go get my calipers. That's not even close. Before I roll it, try and get that straightened out.
Well, it's a little oversized anyway, isn't it?
There we go. Note to self, don't cut this tail off.
Yeah, for the next one.
We might even start over, yeah. I think at this point, it's probably worth cutting a piece that's longer on this end. Well, on both ends.
Yeah, because right now
this end was longer.
This is not reaching the other roller very well, so
Right.
it's not getting the radius it needs.
Yeah, we need this to stay longer until we have it shaped and then cut it off. All right, so that slip, yeah, look at that. What I found was that this part was taking the bend better than this part, and I think it was just the width of the material maybe.
Oh yeah.
So once I got this to the right spot, then I just kept working this. So I kept turning the screws in, like maybe a 1/6 or an 1/8 of a turn equally, and working this area until it matched the radius.
Okay.
It's a little, you can see they don't come together right here, but all that problem is in the tails that don't matter.
That's right, Tony.
Thanks.
Now do it again.
Yep, I can do it again. Probably faster.
That's how it works.
There we go. All right, so that part of both sides is done. Now we gotta trim them on the ends and get this to fit up against the nose panel that we already have made.
Who would have thought that 2 little pieces of tube basically would be such a pain in the ass?
At least for me. Thought this would be the quickest part.
Yeah, me too. I think that's it.
Yep. Took longer to cut, but didn't have to reform it. There, this side's gonna be pretty good.
Oh wow, look at that. That came out a lot better than I thought it would.
Yeah, how about that? It's ready to go.
So now that Tony did a great job getting these formed and installed in place, they're gapped pretty nicely. I have some bigger gaps to deal with, but you'll have that on the bigger jobs. Yeah, Tony doesn't get a lot of experience with fitting panels with a nice butt weld like this very often, if not much at all. So I think he did a very good job with what he's been presented with. And in hindsight, what we probably should have done is, and when we did all this, we didn't think about putting this back in the hammer form to jig it up. We were gonna do it all in the car. In hindsight, we should put the panel back on here and then made our templates to the edge of the metal, and one for each side, and then did that. But hindsight's always 20/20, and we can't go back to 20/20. So let's just keep moving. So the next thing we're gonna do is I'm going to fit these up tight, and we're gonna put a couple tacks to hold them into place. I'm gonna try to force cool really quickly just so it doesn't melt the form too much behind, because it is 3D printed plastic and I don't wanna like ruin the form. We'll see what happens there. All right. That smells good. Definitely melted some plastic there. But it's also tacked, so worth it. Longer than I wanted. I'm using a way higher amperage than I would typically use for this metal, just so I could tack it really fast. It worked okay, I think. We'll find out once I do that side and take it back off, but. It's funny because I say to never do this, because it's not great for the metal, and it's true, it's not. I got a little too wild with the blowgun. Knocked my drink on the floor. Someone had commented, I forget what platform, about the holes that we made in the front of the panel to screw it down, and what we're gonna do with the holes afterwards. We're gonna weld them shut, if it's not apparent. Tacking that shut's not gonna be a big deal at all. Yeah, there's like, I don't know, like 20 of them maybe? I didn't actually add them up, but that'll happen eventually. Oh, it's stuck.
Is it glued fast?
Oh no.
Melted fast?
Oh no. Maybe I should heat it back up so it comes loose. See, I knew it would melt a little bit, but I didn't anticipate this happening.
You welded it to itself.
Plastic welding.
Yeah.
Look it up. Ooh, that tack's broken. This has been one of those days, hasn't it?
Yeah.
This has been a very big struggle for this week's video. One reason it didn't come off was because I left a screw in it.
Actually, I came back while you weren't here, and the first thing I checked was that all the screws were out.
That's funny. Yeah, this screw was left in. I was showing Luis what we had done so far, and then I was like, oh, there's a screw still there. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use a heat gun. I don't want to talk about it, all right? I feel like it should be going. There it is. I only broke
yeah.
I only broke 2 tacks, but they'll realign. Well, 2 of my tacks are broken, just like the other one. One more. There it goes. There it is. Now I got some tacks to fix. At least the form didn't get too messed up. It's just like a little bubbly. The metal was there, so I kept the shape right. So the buckets are tacked in, they're located, they look great. Great work, Tony, nice and flush here.
Right.
So now what we need to do is get our lights mounted. And to do that, we also need to make sure these lights are gonna be solid and not like vibrating around. Because the worst thing that happens when you're driving down the road in a custom car is your lights vibrating, your beams bouncing around. You don't want that, right? We're going to take this aluminum rectangular tubing, we're gonna turn it into a C channel, and then we're gonna slot the one side of it, put it behind the bottom of the bucket here, so then we can bolt the mount to the light to it, like so. We can shim it up and down for height. We can slide it forward and back for adjustment. It'll make more sense when we do it, so let's just do it. I was making my lines here to cut 2 cuts this way to turn it to the C channel, but Tony had a better idea. I'll just cut it this way instead. Then I can just do 1 cut, and it's not gonna be too shallow that way, so. Ta-da! Be a lot easier if we actually had C channel instead of having to make our own, but don't comment saying we should use C channel. We know. Eyeball center.
Let me use a caliper and then eyeball it.
A caliper that's not even on.
Right.
Don't question my calibrated eyes.
can't fit the light in this way because everything's in the way here with the mounting points. So I'm rotating it, and I remark the mounting points here because this little black box needs to be recessed. So if I center the light in here now, I can mark it on here, and we can cut the bucket. Center. I am the mill. I'm gonna really channel my milling capabilities.
Channel?
Yeah, because I'm gonna make a channel here.
Yeah.
I did 2 rotor broach holes, which he thinks are great, by the way. There's a little peak between. I'm gonna attempt to just kind of mill it. We'll see if it works. All right, let's destroy the bit, or my hand.
Or your wrist?
I don't need those. It actually worked really well. Just call me the general because I'd be milling. So we have our C channel together now with a slot in it. I mounted the light with 3 washers above so we can remove a washer, add a washer as needed, and then we can also like do thinner washers and whatnot to shim it up and down. So we get adjustment this way. Panel's upside down for reference. And then I can also slide it all around. We can change the angle of the light. I think that's all good. The challenge here is to make sure that the light is square to where it needs to be. It's gapped the whole way around the circle correctly. And also when I tack this piece of C-channel in place, that I don't damage the light, because I need to have the light in there to make sure everything's gonna be copacetic.
And I need you to not damage that light.
If it breaks, I'll be buying a new one.
And I think they only come in pairs.
It's even worse.
I'm not sure that's true, but.
I don't doubt it, honestly. So knowing the challenges, I'm gonna want it anyway. It'll be fine. Double stack them and attack them.
Yep.
It's slotted right. It's floating right. I think that's it. I am very nervous, but also confident if that's possible.
You can be confident and nervous.
Yeah. It's an and thing, not an or.
Right.
Let's weld it. I don't see any smoke. Ow! What's the damage? Wow! It didn't damage anything at all, actually.
There you go.
Guess this stuff is pretty high temp. She's cooled down, reassembled. Let's make sure this side fits before we do the other side. I mean, that looks pretty cool. Look a lot better in the car. What do you think?
I think it already looks less like a smile.
Absolutely. It looks like it's meant to be like that. It's almost like we don't even need headlights. Almost.
Yeah, I can't do it. Where we're going, we don't need headlights.
I'm leaving that in. Cool. Well, to get the full effect, we gotta do the other side too. Get that on camera.
I may have.
The piece inside here came out, and I pulled the drill, it came out that side, it popped in there.
And it was even turned around to
Yeah.
the right orientation.
How does that happen? That's crazy.
Well, if you stand right here in front of the car, you can't see any of that work that we did with the buckets.
At all, actually.
Yeah,
You just see lights.
Yep. But it had to happen, and it gave us a place to mount the lights to. So I would call that a success.
Absolutely.
I mean, all you gotta do is look at it and see. It
looks so much better.
Yeah. Yep. Because now you're not seeing the negative space, you're seeing the lights, and it looks way better.
Thanks for watching, guys, and as a reminder, you can get a 14-day free trial to MyHeritage by clicking the link in the description down below or scanning the QR code that's on the screen right now. We'll see you guys next week.